Oh, nice. Nice new doorknob. Nice new door hinges and stuff. If you want to see me install a door like this, stick around. Wonder what I'm gonna do today. It looks like work. Yeah, it looks like work. Oh! Look at all these doors. No hinges on them, no doorknobs on them, no nothing. And see, this is how my doors look after I got them all painted and I brought them up here. I'm getting ready to put them in. And it's like, which door goes where? How on earth do I know which door goes where? Well, I was smart. I made a little list here and I numbered them all. Here, master bath was number 1, master closet number 2, master bedroom number 3, guest bath, and so forth and so on. And so when I go over here, this is the guest room, and I need to put a door on here. And I'm going to do that one next. Momi's been complaining that this room gets kind of cold. She swears that there's no insulation underneath this floor because the garage ceiling is underneath here. I'm pretty sure there's insulation in there, and I've also told her there's a heat register right here, and when we turn the heater on, the heat comes out of this nice and toasty. And I told her, I says, because there's no door on here, because the heat's down low, it comes up and then it's going to travel this way. And this area here is almost like a suction tube, and it sucks the hot air right out of that room into this wide open area. Okay? And I told her, once we put this door on here, this room is going to stay warmer that much more. And I also told her, before, I don't know if you saw or not, we had just a light up here. We're going to end up putting a ceiling fan with a light on there that's going to be controlled by a light switch over here, and it's going to be the handheld remote control. And I said, in the winter, you got your heater on over there, we can turn the ceiling fan the opposite direction. Turn it the opposite direction, and it takes your heat as it's coming up. It forces it up and it blows it up on the ceiling, and then it comes across and it hits this wall, and then it goes back down, and it just keeps going like that. And I said that will also keep this room warm. We've got dual pane windows. If we had single pane windows, single glazed windows, yes, you could change those and put dual pane. I mean, you could also close the shades when you're not using the shades as much, and maybe that'll help hold some of that cold air out against the window. And so for all of those reasons, well, I'm going to do this one next. And I know that's the guest room. I look down here. Let's see here. Guest bath, guest number 5. And so I've numbered them. Get up here in my ladder. And let's see which number. See, I ended up actually putting numbers on both ends, because every once in a while you get the numbers, they get all messed up and they get dirty, and sometimes you can't see them. Now see, there's number 5, and I just happened to write guest bedroom on that one, or somebody else did, I didn't. Okay, so I know it's that one there. Of course it's the one in the back, right? Of course. It couldn't be just the front one. And we're not using the old hinges. We went and bought new hinges, and I've got all the hinges. I had to buy like 30 some odd hinges. And they're nickel finish. She likes the nickel finish. And she also likes the nickel finished handles. Let's see, here's all the different handles, and this time we got, well, last time there was paddle handles on here. See, this is a bed and bath, so that's not the right one. We need a hall and closet one, and that's these over here. See here, hall and closet, because there's no push button on it. These other ones for bathrooms, you want the privacy handle with the push button or the little thumb turn to lock it. So when you're in there, nobody disturbs you, okay? And I even got door bumpers I got new door bumpers because the old door bumpers were kind of old and tired. They're 15 years old. Plus, some of them were white. Did you know you can also get these in white? I made another video once upon a time, and you got the silver, you got gold, like the brass color, and you've got anodized bronze. You also have white. And you also can get them in different lengths. See this one here? Look how much longer that one is. See? From that one? Every once in a while you need one that's longer in case you've got for some reason the handle's hitting the wall, or you've got something behind there like maybe a towel bar and it's hitting the towel bar and it's barely missing your door bumper. Just get a longer door bumper. That's all you got to do. I think they even make them just a hair longer than this, and I like the kind that are wider at the base. See how that tapers out? See how wide that is? And there's a little base, and you just twist this into it. Okay? And for that, I ended up, you can buy these single, you can buy them in a 2-pack. This one happened to be a 5-pack. I've already used 2. And see, value pack. You always try to find, here, 5. You always try to find things in packs and in amounts, because, you know, you buy these separately, they were like $2.50 or $2.58 or something like that. You buy a 5-pack, they were $8.50 some odd cents. So, you know, I saved like $2 buying a 5-pack. Basically, you buy 4 and get 1 free, pretty much. And I needed 10, so why not get the pack? So I got 2 free, so I saved $4 on 10 door stops. You know, maybe $5. Maybe $5 I saved. Any case, you know, I'll put those on too. Okay, so if you want to see me do that, it's not very hard to do this, but if you want to see me do that, stick around and I'll pull this door out and I'll show you how to put the hinges on. I'll show you how to put the hinges on this door frame, and I'll show you how to pop the door on the hinges. Okay, that's coming up next. Oh, that cracks me up. Talk about saving money. I'm always, I tell you, I'm always about saving money. And of course, let's talk about these door handles for a second. When I saw these on the shelf, I was set on getting the Schlage handles. Well, these aren't Schlage, are they? This is called Defiant. And I saw this and that kind of sold me. Guaranteed lifetime. And I looked at that and I started looking at pricing. You know, these were way cheaper than the Schlage. And the handles look pretty much like the Schlage. They're slightly different things, different than that. If you want to see a Schlage paddle handle like that, you go to the store and you can see those. In fact, I got one downstairs on the garage door. But didn't that handle look nice? You know, this is the Defiant, and it's the same color as your Schlage. It's a nickel finish. I mean, they have them in different finishes. And I thought I would give it a try. It said it was lifetime, and I kind of poo-pooed anything other than Schlage, you know, and because Schlage is kind of the top of the line, and these were almost $8 less per handle. But then I looked on the tag and it said, if you buy them in bulk, you get a little bit cheaper price. If you buy 5 or more, you get a cheaper price. So I happened on these, I got 5. This one here is a keyed locking one, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use that for the garage door or not, but I went ahead and got it. And then for the passage handles, I had 6. So because I got 5 or more, the 6th one was the same price as the 5 bulk. And you know, it didn't even ring up at the register. So you got to watch that. You got to make sure that the prices ring up. Don't just make the assumption. I told the lady, I had to sit there and she had to call the guy up in the hardware department. I had to walk him back there. He had to take a picture of it, and we had to come back and override everything. But heck, it saved me about $1.50 more per handle by buying in the bulk. And so, you know, $7.50, $7.58, $14, $15. I saved about $15, and I was still wanting to buy the Defiant. So hey, you know, look around. Sometimes you can do that too. Now, when I got all the door hinges, I didn't even look, but I don't think they had a price for buying them in bulk, and I wish they did, dabbity nabbit, because I needed 30 of these. But still, these hinges were pretty cheap as it was. They were $2 and some odd cents each, and I thought, hey, whatever, I'll get them. I had to get them anyways, and so overall, because I saved the $1.50 and because they were about $8, a little over $8 savings, they were basically $10 cheaper per handle than the Schlage. And you know, sometimes you just got to look around and see how you can save some money. So what, $10 per handle, and I got $110 plus the tax, you know, $115 I saved probably on the handles over the Schlage ones. You see what I'm saying? So there's always ways to save money, and those handles, like I say, those handles look really nice. Here, this was the passage one. This was the passage one here, and I can tell a slight difference, variation from the Schlage paddle handles. And you want to look at the bed and bath one with the thumb turn. I'll just show you that real quick. I put this door in the other day for Momi because she wanted the first door I put on was the bathroom one. And now on the Schlage, it has a push button. It has just a push button here where you push it in and stuff. Well, this one doesn't. You know, you just have to turn it. You just have to turn it like that, and it's locked. Okay, simple as that. And on the Schlage ones, there's just a little pinhole here where you have to take the little thing and push it in there and pop it, or you know, like that. Well, here, see, it's just got that. And so if you lock yourself out, you just turn this, and you know, you can take a penny, you can take a dime, you can take a screwdriver. Let's lock this, okay? I got it locked. You could take anything, and I'll show you. Look, it's locked. Uh-oh. Now see, this one came with the little key, and I just put it up there, and I can use the back side of it as a screwdriver. And I just put it in there like that, turn this, and you unlock it. All I'm doing when I'm turning that is I'm turning the handle, this paddle. Oh, I'm just turning it. You see, with that. Now, I think I can. Now see, this wasn't really for that. See, it's got a little tip on it, and that's for changing the paddle handles. And I'll show you how to do that on installing that other one. Okay, I'm just gonna keep that up there. I told Mommy we'll keep that up there. But watch this. I think I can get this just with my fingernail. Let's just see if I can. I just trim my nails too. Oh, there it is. See there? Don't tell your kids that. Or else they'll be opening up your doors all the time. But that's as simple as it is. Okay? And these handles are interchangeable. When you go to the store, when you buy them, they're set up for, I think they're set up for right-handed door swings. And so if you have a left-handed door swing, years ago you had to buy lefts and you had to buy rights, and you had to know exactly how to hand a door, which handles to get, and sometimes they were out of stock, and that was kind of tricky. And nowadays you can pop the handles off, and then you can take them and flip them around. Okay, that's something I'll show you later, but for right now, hey, we're on with getting ready to install this guest bedroom door. Stick around if you want to see that. It's easy Anyone can do it, even you. And incidentally, why am I showing you all these different videos and stuff? If you know by now, I like to help people, viewers like you, save money. And I'm just an average Joe. So if I can do it, of course you can do it too. In fact, I always say I will never post a video on my YouTube channel that I think you can't do. So peruse my station, look at the playlist, go to my main channel page, click on playlist, scroll down through all of the different topics I have on my channel. Anything that interests you, click on something there. And yes, you'll figure out that if I can do it, of course you can too. Okay, I got my hinges pretty much ready. Now, I always like to lean these doors down against the wall. This. These are hollow core doors. Most interior doors are hollow core. And so I just set it like that. Okay. I've just got it like that. I've got the hinge cutouts facing out. You see, facing out this way, facing out, lean it up against the wall. Now in new construction, if you don't have the carpet down, I would just take some carpet pad, or I take just my little knee pad, and I would set it down on one side, one end or the other, and just let it stick out so I don't bugger up or scratch or mark up the face of the door. You know what I mean? And that's all I'm gonna do for setting it up. Okay, and I've got my hinges. I've got my hinges here. I always pop the hinge pin out first a little bit. Now you can put the hinges on the door first, and then poke out the hinge. Okay, so I'll just get these and set them down where I need them. Okay, and of course I gotta get my screws. Get my screws ready. I've got my little drill here. Okay, let's see how I'm gonna set this up so that you can kind of see what I'm doing without me being in the way, right? You don't have to rush. See, I can pull that out, and of course I've got the door facing forward. I want the hinge, so that way I know which side the hinge should be facing. I don't want to put them all on there and then pull the hinge pin out and then later think, oh, okay, I'll just pop it in that way. I like to do it the way that they come. And you can't just set up all your doors. I would set them all up. You know, if I was doing 15, 20 doors in a commercial tenant improvement or a house or something, I'd set all these up on the wall, and I would have a system. And you can't just put them all the same direction, because left-hand swing doors maybe are facing this way. Right-hand swing doors maybe are facing the other way. So you're not always going to have 3 knuckles on here. Sometimes you're going to have only 2 knuckles on there, right? For a different handed swing door. Okay, so I usually like to look at the screw holes, and if I see one like this one here, if I were to put that screw in first, the hole is drilled too far that direction. So if I put that one in first, it's going to slide this hinge over just a hair. If you follow me? So I'm going to look at this. I'm going to look at the ones that are centered or off to the right, and I see the top one is, so I'm going to do that one first. The middle one is slightly pushed over that way. This one's even further, but so I'm going to do the middle one first, and hopefully that's not going to slide out because I've already got that one tight. Okay, that's nice and snug now, and because that one's over, as I tighten it up, it's just going to roll over into position. There's no way that one's going to pull out. I got it nice and smooth. If you didn't know that one tip, and you put that one in first and then did these, you're going to have a gap right there. Then when you put then forevermore, you're going to have a gap whenever you open the door, and if that one's at eye level, you're going to see that, or somebody else is going to notice it, or your hinge knuckle, your hinge pin's not going to go in exactly right because this one's pushed over and the one on the door frame is pushed straight. So, you know, different little things to be aware of, you know. So we'll put this one in next. I'm just going to pull, let's just leave that in, okay? I usually take it out because then it wants to fall off, see? So if I'm doing it, I could set all these up, boom, 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 like that, set them all up on the door. Now that middle one, I'm doing that one first. These other two are slid over just ever so slightly. But see, now that middle one is going to hold these other two. And it's almost like that pushed it, but nah, it looks okay. Because that one's in the middle, these two are off to the side. Both of these should stay in place. I've got that ratcheted type drill. And so that's why it's making that. I'm not stripping the screw or anything. Okay. I like the ratcheted drill better than the other. The only problem with the ratcheted drill, you can't drill in drill bits and stuff because you got to pull this out, pop that out, and you've got the end like that. You can get a drill bit with these ends, but still, I find that lots of times your drill doesn't really want to work before it starts chattering. So I've got a regular drill too. Okay, I'm going to do the middle one first. And see, because I got it held out away from the wall, I don't even have to do anything. If you put it too close to the wall, you could have the whole thing slide. You just have to be careful. Okay, that's all I have to do for that. That door is ready to be installed. So now I take the other portion of the hinges and I'm going to set this up over here. And I'm going to put these hinges on. It's simple Simon, man. You can do this. Don't pay somebody else to start rehanging your doors. This is because I didn't install these doors brand new, okay? I repainted them, and if you've been watching all my episodes, you'll see all the different things I had to do on making these doors fit. Lots of them were sagging beforehand. You don't want to fix a sagging door after you paint. Think, I'll just do it later. No, do it first in case something happens. You have to adjust something, or you make any marks on the existing door frames, the door jamb, the side of the door jamb, whatever. So I had to tweak some of these door frames and all that kind of stuff prior to taking them down. Then I took them down, took all the hinges off, took the doorknobs off, and then I painted them. And I set it up all out in the garage. And I show you even how to paint a door. And you know, it's back on one of my other episodes. Okay, look for it on my channel. Okay, so now my second step, I got to put the second section of the hinge knuckles on the door frame now. And because I was paying attention, I know that on this particular door, it gets the two knuckles. Okay? I know that. Now these hinges are probably interchangeable, so if they come from the store with the hinge pin on the top, lots of times you can put it top or bottom, but other times your hinges might have a little thing in the bottom of it that no matter what you do, you can't put it any different direction. Okay, without a lot of hassle. I've taken that little thing off before and flipped it around, and and that kind of stuff, but you shouldn't have to do that if you're paying attention. Okay. The pre-drilled hole is in the exact center of every single little hole, so I'm good to go. Don't have to. I could have put the top screw in first, the bottom screw in first, the middle one in first. That one didn't really matter. Okay, and you know, sometimes it matters. So you just have to you just have to pay attention. These are all lined up fine too. Every once in a while you'll find that a screw hole is not lined up, and then you have to make a decision. Okay, which screw do I put in first? Now see, that one is spinning. That top screw is spinning, and see there? And if I had to replace that, I would have to pre-drill a hole, put it in at an angle, because I couldn't just put a longer screw in there and go straight, because the sheetrock is a ½ inch thick. That screw is right in line with the sheetrock edge over there. I'd have to put it in at an angle, but the other two screws are fitting tight. And if that was the top hinge, I would be more inclined to want to think about putting another screw in there and sticking it in at an angle and pre-drilling it and getting longer screws and all that kind of stuff. Because if a door is ever going to sag, which hinge is more likely to sag than any of the other ones? Yes, the top one, right? The top one. This time I'm gonna check these with my screwdriver. Yeah, see, those two are spinning. That one's tight. Those two are slightly spinning, but because it's at the bottom, you know, nothing's ever gonna happen to this door. I think it's gonna be fine. I'm leaving it. I'm not gonna mess with it. Now, if I wanted to, I could do just the middle screw and then get a longer one and pre-drill it straight into the 2x4 in the back, because the middle screw is sticking out further than the top two screws. Okay, the top two screws are lined up with the sheetrock. I could do it on the middle one if I ever had to do anything to this door, and if something was getting funky down at the bottom, I could put a longer screw right there in that middle one. But I'm not going to, because like I say, the thing is pretty sturdy anyways, and it's a hollow core door. It's only a 6'8" tall door. It's not an 8-foot tall door, and it's at the bottom, and so all the weight is transferred to the center and the bottom one from the door. You see what I mean? And so I don't think this door's ever going to sag, especially down at the bottom. If anything, if I ever had to adjust it, if there was more gap down there at the bottom, if I had to adjust that and put screws on the back side of that hinge and tweak it out, then yes, of course I would have to get other screws, longer screws to tighten up and do all that kind of stuff. You know, just if you watch my my videos, I got a ton of videos that are not in this episode series of the condo renovation. If you want to watch those different ones on a different house where I fix all kinds of doors, sagging doors and all that kind of stuff, go to my main channel page, click on playlists, and then go down to doors. You know, scroll down to doors. Any door video that I've ever done on this channel, that I posted this channel, I then put on a playlist under those doors. If you want to watch those, have at it. Okay, so now I'm ready to pop this door into place. See, it doesn't take very long to do this. You can do this kind of stuff. If you're going to paint, and you're going to paint your own doors, and you're going to change out. Even if you're not changing to new hinges, you can take the old hinges off. You can replace the old hinges like for like, just like I'm doing. Okay? And reinstall your existing hinges. You don't even have to install new ones. We're just installing new ones because She didn't like the brass in here. She likes the nickel finish, and to be honest, because we changed the paint, this is called Double Click from Home Depot. It's kind of a gray color. I like it. And then I repainted the ceilings white. They weren't white before. And now putting the nickel finished hardware on there, it just adds something to here. And it's a good look. But if you got the brass, and if your brass handles are fine and your hinges look pretty good, hey, put your old ones back on. You know, it's fine. Nobody's going to know the difference except you. If you're trying to save money, that's a great way to save money, is to reuse your existing hardware, your existing door strikes, your door stops, your door bumpers, your hinges, your handles, your doorknobs, all of that kind of stuff, okay? All right, let's get this door popped on the hinges. I've got 3 hinge pins looking for a home. Okay, I could leave 2 hinge pins down here on the ground. I'm going to do that. These are brand new. There's no grease on them. There's no dirtiness on it, or greasy marks or anything like that. These are basically dry. I mean, I can feel just slight. So I leave 2 of them down there, and I leave 1 in my nail bag. And I leave it in a strategic place in my nail bag so I know where it's at so I can grab it. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it down in my nail bag. In fact, if those are greasy, which you know, some can be, I'm gonna just stick them all in my nail bag. Okay. I'm gonna take this door, and usually I try to carry it in the same way all the time, but this way I'm doing it different because the hinges are facing that way, and I don't want to flop the door all around and all that kind of stuff. And just watch what you're doing. Be careful not to bang anything or anything like that. Look at that. I usually carry it in. I don't carry it in that way generally. I shouldn't have done that because that's the bottom of the door. I want the top of the door. Okay. And I got my back support on and my knee brace and everything, and I can just swivel this around. Just be careful and try not to whack your doors, your walls and stuff. Now all I care about is the top hinge. I don't care if the bottom 2 line up or anything. All I want to do is get my hinge pin just in the top knuckle and the top knuckle on the door frame. That's it. I don't want to do anything else. Okay? Just lining that up. Grab my first hinge pin. And I'm just going to do that's it. If it goes down further, fine. But if it's just like right there, and if it doesn't go any further, don't start taking a hammer trying to beat it down, because your bottom 2 hinges aren't lined up yet. You could bend the hinge pin slightly. You could tweak one of your knuckles here. Don't do anything. Look, this door is not going to fall down now, but now I'm just going to lift that and work on the second one. If the second one goes in, fine. If it doesn't, then I got to get a hammer and kind of tap on one or the other just a little bit. Okay, that's all the further I'm going to go. Okay, because the bottom is not lined up 100% yet. Okay, until I get that bottom lined up, the other hinge pins, I don't care about. I'm not going to tap those down until I get down here, line this up, pull on the door a little bit, line it up, push it in. That easy. I'm pushing in with my thumb. You know, that's all you got to do. And normally I don't push those down and tap them all the way down until I get the door in, until I get it adjusted or finalized and all that kind of stuff. I'll just tap this down a little bit. I want to be careful as I do that, so I'm not rubbing the backside of my hammer on the door frame, on the door casing, anything like that. That's it. I don't have to do anything more. I'm not going to tap those pins down all the way until I'm 100% happy with this door on the way it is. Because if I forgot to fix this, or for some reason this door shifted and I got to mess with the door, maybe I have to tweak one of the the door knuckles, all the knuckles, well, then I got to take the door back off, right? So then I don't want to start messing with this. I want this to be nice and easy so that I can pull these hinge pins back out and all that kind of stuff. Once I get done with the entire door, that's when I'll tap everything down into place, and I'll be real careful when I do that so I don't mark up the door, the back side of the door, or the door casing. Okay, that's it so far. And you know, on this door here, I don't know if they ever put a door bumper on it or not, because see where the bottom is? It's way out here. Normally that's where your door bumper is. Could I put a door bumper on here? Yeah, I could. I could way over here until it hits that, and I might, because see what's going to happen when I put that door handle on, it's probably going to hit that one. See, and I don't know if they ever drilled and put a door bumper on here from before. See there, look at that. They didn't. There's no hole for the door bumper, so I'm going to have to make a strategic decision on that, and I'll put the door bumper on last. Okay, after I put the doorknob on and line it all up and figure out exactly where I want to put it, or if I want to leave it off or whatever. Okay, you can make that decision later. Okay, well, there you go. That's all I'm going to do for right now until I get the door handle installed. I can go about my business, and I can hang other doors if I want. You know, I want to get this door 100% today. So once I get the doorknob out, I'll put the door strike plate in, and then I'll figure what to do here. And a lot of times I like to, this is my pet peeve, is where the door latch comes out. If it's not flush, I like to line it up perfect, because lots of times they just dado this out with the door machine, and usually they're not dadoed out 100% perfect. See this side here where it's really deep? This side isn't as deep, is it? And if you screw that in tight, lots of times the edge of the plate of the latch face isn't going to be flush with there. I like them flush. Now this one here was sticking way in too, but after I did my little trick, look how nice and flush that is. Look at that. See there? That's how I like to see all of them, and hopefully you do too. I'll show you that on a different video when I install that doorknob. Okay, and so that's it so far. And here's the other thing too. When we installed this carpet, we got a carpet that's a slate shag. The cut pile is kind of tall, and initially Mommy was wanting to get a thick carpet pad, a little bit thicker than what was down here, and I said, no, I don't think you want to do that, and we've got to watch it, because the other carpet, it was cut pile, a tight cut pile. It might even been slightly level loop with cut pile. I can't remember now, but it was tight. And I said, if we get stuff that's too thick, we may have to undercut the doors. I really don't want to undercut the doors. I wasn't quite sure how much room was underneath the existing doors. All those types of things you have to consider when you replace your carpet and your carpet pad. Now see these doors here? It's just barely rubbing on the carpet. That's fine. I'm not going to mess with that. I'm not going to try to undercut the door by just a hair. See this one here? It's going into a closet. It's just a little bit, and over time the carpet is gonna lose a little bit of puffiness, because you're going to be walking back and forth through here all the time, and eventually it's going to be fine. But right now I don't mind that rubbing the carpet that little bit at all. But if it's rubbing kind of hard, oh yeah, now you've got to undercut all your doors. You know, that's not part of what I really wanted to do. I'm calling that good. Okay. Well, that door looks pretty good. I just installed it. I painted the doors from before. I took all the hardware off, took the old hinges off, put new hinges on, and just rehung this door. Okay, if you want to watch that, that's what I did on this video. Well, that's all I got for this time. But I'll be back with more videos as always. What door am I going to install next? I'll give you one guess what I'm doing. I'm getting ready to install some doors that I've painted, some existing doors that I painted, and I've got to installing brand new hinges. And when the hinges come, of course, the hinge pins are all the way in, and I like to. I could set the whole thing up there on the door frame or on the door without doing this, and then pop the pins off afterwards. I don't like doing that because then sometimes that slightly messes up with your hinges. So I've got just a little 2x4 here, and I'm going to set it here, and I'm just going to go like that. And I've got my nail set here, and I'm going to tap. I'm just going to tap those out like that. I got my glove on too, because sometimes, oh, look at that. Sometimes it pinches on my hand, so come on. Yeah, just hit it, just give it a little good whack. Good whack, make sure it's sticking off of there. See there? And that's what I'm gonna do. Now I've got these set, and I don't take that out just yet. I look at the door to figure out which side is facing up on the door, because sometimes the door takes the 2 knuckles, sometimes it takes the 3. These happen to be 3.5-inch hinges. Of course, if you get a 4-inch hinge or 4.5-inch hinge, you might have 6 knuckles on there sometimes. And okay, so I'm just gonna leave those off to the side, and I've already seen, I'm gonna end up doing this master bedroom next, and I had marked all the doors, and master is number 3, and I looked on top of the doors and I marked those, and it's the second one from the end again. I don't know why I never get lucky in having it just be this next door that's lined up here. Just be careful with your doors as you're working on them, to try not to get them marked up. Try not to get your grubby fingers on them. If your fingers start getting dirty, wash your fingers in between, because you don't want to leave your marks on here and stuff. I'm pretty sure this was door number 3. Yep. And I mark it on both ends before I take the door down. Usually I wipe this clean of all of the dust that's accumulated, because sometimes I've done it before where I've marked right over the dust on the doors, and that's fine, I'll figure it out. And son of a gun, when I wipe them all down and repaint the doors and restack them and stuff, sometimes I can't see the door numbers. And so this time I made sure I got all the dust out off of them before I marked them, and I marked them on both ends in case one number got messed up. And see, on the 6 and the 9, lots of times I'll put a line underneath the 6 and a line underneath the 9, so I know if it's a 6 or a 9. You know what I mean? Okay, so I'm just going to set it here, lean it up against the wall at an angle like this. There's my little helper for this next segment. Okay, and then I'll get set up I'll get you sit over here, and I'll just grab this. I'll take my glove off. I don't need my glove now for the hinge. So see, now I've got this, and I can look at this. Oh, I gotta pay attention. I gotta pay attention too, because see, this is the top of the door this time, not the bottom. If I wasn't paying attention, I could put these on like that, thinking this is the top, and then find out later, oh shoot, these hinge pins need to go in the other way. And I like to, however they come from the store, if the hinge pin is facing up, I like that. I like to just call that the top. Now on some doors, on some hinges, you'll have the name stamped on there, and I like to keep the name facing up, you know, depending on the hinge pins and that kind of thing. So I'm looking, and I know that the long panel is the top of the door. Isn't that something? Oh yeah, okay, I got it right. I got it right. The numbers are over here. I just have to be careful with that, and so when I do that, I'm going to put this over there, pull that out, and see, I've got the twos, the two knuckles on there, and so I'll just take these other ones, and all I'm going to do is work on the twos. Now sometimes you might have hinge pins when you get them brand new. They might be greasy. If they are, don't throw them on the carpet like I just did. Okay? You don't want to do that. But those look fairly clean, and all of these holes are exactly in the middle, so it doesn't matter which screw I put in first. Sometimes, believe it or not, it matters, because the last thing you want is for a gap between the edge of your hinge and the dadoed area out of the remaining door. Okay, this screw looks like it's close there. If I would have put that one in first, it would have sucked this over. Now it won't, because I've got the other two in, and the head will just drag right over into place without moving the hinge. Okay, it's really simple. Come on, you don't have to pay a door guy, a handy person, the contractor, to rehang your doors. Okay, or your painter, or whatever. If you've just painted your doors, this is what you're going to go through to rehang them, whether these are your new hinges or your old hinges. And a lot of times, even if you like the color of hinge that you had from before and they were pretty good, they might be full of paint, they might be rusty. It might be a good idea to decide, okay, do I want to put new hinges on at this point, or do I want to use the old ones? If you have old paint on your old hinges, did you know you can get that off? I've seen it on a YouTube video. I don't know why I was watching it, but they heated. What did they do? They put them in a pot of water, and they boiled the water, and that softened the paint. That softened the paint enough for them to then scrape it off. Oh, I know what it was. It was an HGTV show where they were working on remodeling a house, and they were trying to save all the real old funky hinges and hasps and clasps of windows and stuff. And they got it all off that way. So you can do that on your hinges too. Okay? Okay, so that's all. That's as easy as it gets for rehanging this, putting the hinges on. Okay, I'm going to get you set up over here. I don't even know if I'm going to shut the camera off. I don't want you to think there's any funny monkey business going on. Get you set up right over here, shall I? Right here, and see if there's a little bit of light there. Sorry about that. It's just we've got a skylight out there, and it's during the day and stuff. Let me get my hinges. And I can put these hinge pins in my, oh, what happened? Oh, I dropped one in my nail bag. I thought okay. I'll keep them there strategically. Now see, if I was hanging a right hand, I would take this, one of the hinge pins, and I would set it over here to get the first one, and then I'd do it that way. Okay. Especially if you're using old stuff and if they're greasy and all that kind of stuff, you want to make sure you don't put them on your carpet or anything like that. Okay? Come on. Just take your time. It's not a race, you know? If you've never done this and you want to save some money, try it. I'm not making it look any easier or more difficult than it should be, okay? On the last door, I don't know if you saw it, I had the 2 knuckles on the door frame, not the 3. And that's because, why is that? Why is, what's the deal, yo? That's funny. This one's a left here. This one, the hinges are on the left. That last door, the hinges were on the left. But somehow, out of the package, the handle, the pins were facing the other direction. And I've got the, did I have 2s? I had 3s. I think I had 3s on the door. I can't remember now. Boy, my mind's failing me. You know, that's what happens when you get old. That's what happens. You get these senior moments. Have you ever had those? I get them every once in a while. Oh, yeah. It's just the way it is. One of these days, I might be in a position where I don't have to do this anymore. But this, hey, this gives me exercise, gives me something to do. I keep thinking I'm gonna find somebody else who's doing all this work, and I'll make videos of them doing all the work, and all I'm doing is running the camera. Okay, now it's time for me to grab that door and put it up. Oh, that is really funny. I'm still racking my brain. Why the other door is the same swing, why I put the 2-prong knuckles on the door frame rather than the 3s. I think it's just the way it came out of the package. I'm not quite sure how that happened. But it works. You know, these are light enough that you can just carry them pretty much like that. Man. Okay. Let's swivel it around into position. And I've got my hinge pin already. I'm just concentrating on the top one. I got my hand wrapped around the door, lifting it by the handle area. And I just want the top one. I don't care about the other ones. I have no care in the world what happens with those. And I'm just getting it in the top 2. That's it. Now I can reposition this and figure out about where it goes. This one's not going because it's hitting at the bottom. And before you start banging on the bottom one, you got to find out which way those knuckles need to go. Does the one on the door need to go slightly up, or does the one on the door frame need to come slightly down? So I'm going to look at that and make the determination. Sometimes it's kind of difficult to see. And it looks like I just have to slightly tap it down, I think. Yeah, see, just that much. Now it'll slide in. It'll slide in to position, and I want to I want to make sure I do the middle one first, and I've just got the top knuckles. Okay, I don't want to bang it down yet. Now I can do that. That one went right down in there, and now I know it's all lined up. And now I can just slightly tap on it. Okay, I'm just hitting the outside edge, and I'm not going to tap it all the way in just yet. Okay, before I installed, or before I took these doors off to paint them, I wanted to make sure that they were lined up, that the doors, any sagging doors were adjusted first and stuff. And if the gap was too big, I thought, okay, as long as the gap's too big, I might have to readjust certain doors after I put them back up, and I can do that after the doors have been painted. Okay, but I'm looking at that, and that actually looks pretty good. And I'll do a once over on it. If anything, I've got a slightly bigger gap up at the top than I do anywhere else. And if I wanted to, I could take that top hinge. I could take the top hinge. I could unscrew this, and then I can pre-drill a hole right there in the wood behind this. Unscrew this, flop it over, pre-drill a little hole there, pre-drill a hole right in about there, you know, put 2 screws in, my sheetrock 1.25 inch screws, and screw those in, let the head stick out just barely from the wood, and then I put that back in. Can you see that acts as a shim? And that would take this from nothing and would let this side stick out ever so little. Okay, and then I would screw this hinge back in, and there's my shims, those screws. And then as I close the door, see, that would cock this out at a slight angle, which then would mean this door would be pushed over at the top, and it would make this gap just a hair smaller, you know, if I wanted to do that. And I think I might see how the gap is there. That's a pretty good gap. And you know, the door would still close at this point, and it would still latch, and it would be fine. I'd take a look at this, see my gap here. See, that gap's about the same. So if I put those screws in there, that's actually going to be slightly bigger. And then when I look up at the top, if this moves over, it's going to lower this down, this edge down, this edge over. Do you see? And it could, and that would be fine. So if that's something you want to do, see, I can do that adjustment now after the painting has been done. You see what I'm saying? And I could do that, or I could leave it. You choose. Okay. Well, there you go. Another door hung, ready for the doorknobs and ready for a slight adjustment if you choose. Now here's one more thing to consider. If you didn't see the last video I did, I just hung another door just like this in the guest room down there. I haven't put the doorknob on yet. I'll make a video of when I put the doorknob on. Okay, but you see how the door is just slightly rubbing on the carpet. I'm calling that good. I'm not going to mess with it. Okay. But if that was any harder than that, and if it was making a big old trail here, I'd have to make a decision about undercutting the door. And then you got to take the door down, take it outside, mark the bottom of the door, mark it, score it with a sheetrock knife, put some masking tape on the edge so that your saw table fence is not going to rub on the pre-finished, nicely painted door. And then you cut that off, bring it back in here, rasp off the edge all the way around, bring it back in here, and install it. You know, that's a video series in itself, how to undercut doors. you know. But this is just not enough for me to really be too concerned about. I don't think Mommy's gonna care too much about that. But if it was making a big old mark all the time, then it might be something, yeah, I probably should shave it off. And so I'd probably shave that off. I could shave it off a 1/4 inch, or you can leave a gap. Lots of times you look at your door between the bottom of your door and your carpet. Sometimes you may have a gap 1/2 inch, 3/4, even more than that sometimes. You know, depending who the last person was, what was on the floor last. If you replace your carpet and pad and you put down a hardwood floor or something, of course you're going to have a gap, because you're not going to have the sponge carpet pad underneath the carpet, and depending how thick your carpet is, you have all that down. And if you put a flooring that's only 5/16 or 3/8 thick, you know, hardwood floors or laminate floors or a vinyl flooring, planking, I would have a gap under there, wouldn't I? So you're going to have to decide for yourself, do I undercut the doors or not? You know what, for the sake of argument, I am going to undo that top hinge and put some screws, and I'll show you how that's done next. Okay, I got my drill here, and I got just 1/4 inch, 1.25 inch drywall screws. These are coarse threads, see? Coarse threads for wood. And I'm going to use 2 of those, and I've got another drill here with just a little tiny drill bit, smaller than the diameter of that. Okay, so just bear with me here. I'm going to set you up. Let's see. I'll get you turned over. Get you turned over this way. Trying to get you in this little small hallway. Oops. I'm trying to adjust the tripod neck. Okay. Okay, I think you can see that now. If I can just shimmy around the tripod. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this. And see, I still have the 2 other hinges on. This has already slid just a little bit, but there's not much weight on there. If this was a solid core door, it might slide more. And then I would put a shim underneath the door on the open side, so this wouldn't sag too far, because with this I can just push this a little bit with my hand, get that lined up, because it's a hollow core door. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. And remember why we're doing this, to get that gap a little bit smaller. This door is not sagging, it's just got a bigger gap. So now I'm going to take this and about there, just so that the head of my screw doesn't get in the way. And I'm keeping it towards the outside as best I can. I don't want to get it too close, but you know, in there. Now that's not going into wood behind there, that's going into sheetrock. See my drill bit, there's actual sheetrock dust, because I'm not going into wood. The backing, I don't care about that. I'm just putting the screw in. I'm putting these screws in, and I'm pre-drilling it because I don't want to crack the door, the edge of the door jamb. I've seen it happen before. Okay, so now I'm just going to screw that in. And I'm going to adjust it with my regular hand screwdriver. Okay, that's going to be my shims, believe it or not. I thought of that a couple years ago. Before that, I used to cut metal shims and try to loosen this up and wedge the hinge out from the other side, kind of poke them in there, and then, oh no, I flopped over too many layers of sheet metal, or it's got to be just a little less or a little more or whatever. Now I'm just going to tighten those up, just so the head is just I can just barely feel the head. Okay, that's pretty good. This one's sticking out too far. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much, okay? That feels pretty good. And you may have to go through this process a couple times to get it exactly where you want it, right? Okay, so now let's see. I'm just gonna start that screw in there. I'm not gonna tighten it just yet. Okay, now I can reach up here and push on the door, take up that gap right there, and tighten that up. That's why these top screws need to be tight. If I had any of these screws that were spinning, I'd have to pre-drill. I'd have to take this door down first off, and then I would have to pre-drill through here into the wood, use a longer screw, make sure all of these screws are will nicely tighten up, right? Because I need them to hold, okay? And it doesn't look like it did very much, does it? But I can feel there's a definite little ridge right there. And if I didn't do enough, I'll have to take this out and just undo that screw, those two black screws, just barely. Okay, I just want that snug, okay? Now, I'm gonna keep the camera rolling, and we're gonna see how well we just did, okay? You see this is all nicely tight now. See how the hinge is sticking away from the wood just ever so slightly. Now let's look at our gap. Look at that. See how much closer that is? Look. In fact, it almost looks like I didn't do enough, or I did too much. Because if this door ever sagged, it's going to get even closer. I want this door that if it ever does sag, it doesn't sag any more than that over the next 5 years. So, and see how big the gap is here? See? So I know I went just a hair too far out. Okay? And so yes, I'm going to do this again. And I didn't have that screw head out very far, mind you. Not at all. Okay, I can just do this by hand. I don't need my drill. I'm gonna put that in because the last thing I want is for this to sag. And these door frames will sag. This is 15 years old Condo, but if the wood ever shifts, if the ground ever shifts underneath, if some wood settles, or over time with this door opening, closing, opening, closing, opening, closing, you know, thousands of times, eventually your hinge pin wears a little bit, and then you get a little bit of sloppiness, and then on the inside of the hinges, maybe that wears just enough to cause the door to slightly want to sag, because it's going to sag from the top over. And that's usually why your doors are sagging or rubbing or hitting your edge of your door frame, and you need to repaint it or something. Okay, I just twisted that in just a tad. That's it. I don't think I'm going to go any further. Okay, I think I'm good right there. I didn't do much, did I? But I think I did enough. I didn't really need very much to begin with. Okay? Okay, so now I'm going to push that over, tighten that up. Okay, got it snug. That's just in case I need to push it over like that. I could have maybe just tightened that screw and it might have sucked the hinge over, but I like to kind of give it a little help in case it's not tight. Okay. Okay. Well, we're going to check it again. The types of things you might have to do to just work on your door. You know, when I get done with my doors, I don't like to have marks on the doors, screws. Oh, just put a screw there, just put a screw there. or just bang on this, just put a nail up there, or whatever. And now all of a sudden you think, oh, I can fix that. I'll just put some caulking over that. And then the caulking doesn't match your paint, and the caulking sucks in, and the caulking fits over at the top, or, you know, I like to do things to where when you get all done, you don't even know that I've done anything on this door, okay? Okay. Now see there, the gap, it's just right, isn't it? Okay. The gap's just a hair bigger there, just ever so slightly. I've got plenty of room. If this door ever sagged, it's not going to hit. See, the gap is pretty much the same now. Okay, and this is lining up nice across there now too. A lot nicer there. That's what I'm doing. Fixed. You did it. Bye, Joe. Now, I just recently repainted these doors. I painted the whole condo and everything. I took the doors downstairs, painted them out in the garage. I just put the hinges on, just hung the door. If you want to see that, of course it's on a previous episode of this condo renovation. Just take a look at it. This particular video, I'm going to install the door stops. I call them door bumpers, and you can call them door stops. And see, there's a little hole right there. That's where the old one was. I take all that stuff off before I paint. I don't like leaving the handles on, the door stops on, the hinges on, trying to paint the doors in place or anything like that. I take them all off so I can work on them, clean them, sand them, wipe them down, paint them, and do all that kind of stuff. It's way easier to do all that down in your garage and have all the hardware off, okay? And so now I've got some door stops. I went to the hardware store and I got some new door stops. And here's the door stops I got. Let's just take a quick look at these. Lots of times I call them door bumpers, but they're actually they're called door stops, spring door stops. And this was a 5-pack. See, a value pack. If you can, normally you can't find these in a 5-pack. You know, I saved $2.50 for buying 5 in a 5-pack as opposed to buying 5 individually. Or sometimes you can buy them in a 2-pack, cheaper than individual. So before you just I need 4 of these. Before you just pick up 4, look and see if they sell them by a 2-pack, or look and see if they sell them by a 5-pack. Okay, granted, you only need 4 of these. Get the 5-pack. You can buy 5 for the price of 4. Now you got an extra one in case you ever need it. Okay, and this is the kind I like to use because it comes with this little end goodie. You screw that on first, and then that gets hooked into there, and that screws in. See, here's the mounting screw. Did you ever know you can unscrew those? Some people don't know you can unscrew that. When it's like that, you know, you can pull the end off. You can pull this end off, and you can get a little tiny screwdriver in there, a little Phillips screwdriver. And oh, this one doesn't fit. Look at that. Sometimes they fit. You could probably jam it in there, but some people mount them that way. Well, you don't have to do it that way. You just take that, and then you can just screw this right down, and then take this and hook it on there. And the reason why I like this kind is because they're contoured. See how much fatter they are here? That gives you strength and stability. You see some door stops are this size all the way. Well, eventually those are not strong. They get bent out of shape, and then they get bent 2 or 3 times. Kids playing, and they bang up against the door accidentally. And then this bends out of shape, you know, the ones that aren't as thick as this on this end. And then all of a sudden you've got a doorknob that's pushed through the wall because the door bumper was all bad. This is a lot sturdier. And see, they come in different lengths too. Look how much longer that one is. See that? Look at that. They have 3 sizes of these, believe it or not. I've even seen them longer than this. Why would you need a longer one? Well, if you've got like your bathroom door and you have a towel bar and it fits behind your door and you've got a towel on your door now, or no towel on the door, and you go and close your door, the door may hit your towel bar, and your towel bar might have a dent in it because the door keeps banging on it, and it just barely misses the wall because you've got a short door stop on it, a standard one. Well, get the longer one. Unscrew this one off of the base. You could leave this base there if you want, if it's the same color and if it's still good. Chances are it's going to be rusty because it's in your bathroom. So take the whole thing off, get a new one, and put the new one on. Boom, boom, boom. It's longer. Now you've got enough room for your towel to get on there. Your door doesn't hit the towel and then bend the towel bar behind the towel that's hanging on there. And this is going to stop that because you've got a longer one. Okay, that's the only time I would use the long one. More times than not, just a standard one will do. Okay, so let's go put that up on the door. Easy greasy. Anyone can do this, even you. Now see, I used to put the door stop on last after I put the door handle on. But doesn't it make sense to put it on now? Because if I put the door handle on there and then if for some reason I'm going to put 3 or 4 door handles on and then somebody comes in behind me and they slam the door open and they forgot that there's no door stop on it and they just see the new handle, they push that and they come through here and curtain rack right up against the wall, or you got a ding on the wall, a mark on the wall, a gouge on the wall, whatever. So I just put this in now, and I've just got my Phillips screwdriver. That's all. That's all I'm gonna do. Is just screw it in. I don't usually like to take my battery operated drill to it because I could strip the head, or if I hit something, maybe I'm not holding it straight. And if you don't use a drill a lot, you're not holding it straight, guess what? It slides off of there before it's tight, and all of a sudden, ka-clunk, you've got a hole, you've got a mark on your door. Yeah, you're like, how did he know that? Because guess what? I've done it too. Years ago. Just be careful. Put that in snug. Get this thing. Try to find that hole. And then you just tighten it up. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Get it in there. Snug. There. Simple as that. If you're putting in a brand new door, pre-drill that hole. Don't just try to ram it in there with your battery operated drill. Okay? You could hit a knot and all kinds of stuff. And usually what I do is, whenever I decide where to put that, I try to make most of them the same. However far out, however far up, or what have you. That way they're all about the same throughout the condo, throughout the house. Kaboom. That should give me plenty of room. And now, once I put the handle on, I'll know that it's not gonna hit the door, okay? And, you know, I don't know if you were watching me when I put this other door in, but I'm gonna have to make a decision on this one here. I'm not gonna put the doorknob or the door bumper on just yet, because see, it encroaches into, it backs up against another door, and initially I was thinking, do I even need to put a door bumper on this door at all? The last person for 15 years, do you know there's never been a door bumper, a door stop on this door? There's no hole on that door. And they just left it off. But I've got to see, because see, when I put the door handle on here, I'm thinking that the back side of this handle is going to hit this and mark it up. And I don't want that. And if that's the case, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be the case, then I'm going to have to measure strategically and put the door bumper over there so that when you close this door, it's going to look kind of funky, because usually the door bumper is right in here somewhere, not way over here, right? But that's going to be okay, because it's in a little bedroom. And it's going to be there for a reason to hit up against that. Okay, so sometimes you may have to alter your decision. Sometimes you may decide not to put a bumper at all. But just be aware of stuff like that. See, when I installed this one a few days ago into a little closet, do you really have to put a bumper on there? Yes, I would definitely put one there because, you know, if you got your hands full and you bump up against the door, you could mark up the wall, you know, with the edge of this. Ka-clunk, ka-clunk, ka-clunk. You really want to save $2.50 that much by not putting this door bumper on there? You know, this is called insurance. This is insurance money. See? And you've got plenty of clearance for your door handle. You see there? That just finishes off. And see, that's why I use the silver. I use a silver door stop because my hardware was nickel finished. I've got silver here, nickel finish, which is close to silver. We got the nickel finished hinges and all that. So look at your door stops and make a decision. You know, the last person they had gold, bright brass hinges, bright brass doorknobs, and they had white door bumpers. And that looked kind of, you know, I could see their point. Well, the doors are white. Well, yeah, but you know, I would have gotten the brass door bumpers, the door stops, you know. I always like to match up existing conditions. It's always a good thing to do. All right. Onward, Joe. What's next? Well, I just repainted all these doors. I took them downstairs in the garage. I took all the hardware off, all the handles, all the hinges, all the door stops. And then we decided to go with a different color. I just put this door back up, and I actually made a video of that. So if you want to see that, it's on a previous episode. But today, this particular video, I'm going to put the door handle on. If you want to watch that, stick around and we'll see which handle over there we're going to be installing. Which handle are we going to be installing? Are all door handles created equal? Of course they aren't. They are not created equal. Okay, I've got three kinds of door handles here. They're all the same design, so to speak, but they're different. You see here, we happen to like the paddle type handles. They got all kinds of different paddle handles at the store and stuff. And see this one? This says bed and bath. See this one here? This says hall and closet. And this means this is a passage handle, which means you cannot lock it. You can just open it from both sides with no knowledge or anything. Just open it. This one, bed and bath, I call this a privacy handle. Privacy meaning that when you close it, you can lock it or you can leave it unlocked. And you can and you don't need a key or anything. You just use a thumb turn. Where would you need a bed and bath? Well, that's short for bedroom and bathroom. Of course, on your bedrooms and bathrooms, you don't necessarily want anybody to just walk in there, right? And so in the bathroom, I would put a privacy handle here, and they call it a bed and bath. Okay. And same thing with all the bedrooms. All the bedrooms. Sometimes you have bedrooms with just a passage handle with nothing to where you can't lock it. Well, sometimes you may want privacy in your bedroom. Maybe you don't want the kids coming in. Maybe you don't want your guests coming in. Who knows? Okay? And so you would put the bed and bath, the privacy handle on there. And the passage handles, here, we've got a closet here. I've got this little tiny door right here. Look at that. Not very big, is it? That goes back on this little closet with the storage shelves. That obviously is going to have a passage handle on it because we don't need a lock on that. We don't need that. And then where else did I put a passage? Where else can I put a passage handle? See, in the closet. In the closet, you don't need a privacy handle there. You do need a privacy one for your bathroom and for your bedrooms. Okay? And so that's why that's how they distinguish it. Sometimes you see passage and privacy when you go to the store to find a doorknob. But here, the privacy is bed and bath. The passage is called hall and closet. I just happen to show you both, well, in a hallway, to, or a closet, or a storage area, you would put that. Okay, so obviously we've got this door here is going into the guest bedroom. So which one of these are we going to use? Yes, of course, the bed and bath. Let's do it. Now, interestingly enough, hey Joe, how come you decided to go with the Defiant? You ever heard of a door handle company called Defiant? I never really had. I mean, there's all kinds at the store. I usually like to use, when I'm doing passage, paddle handles like this, and privacy handles, I like to use Schlage. Well, this mimics the Schlage paddle handle. It's slightly different, and this is called Defiant. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to give them a shot. What the heck? I've installed Passage before, or Schlage before, and I'll give it a shot because this, I like this too, lifetime guarantee. You know, after a while, sometimes these have a tendency to flop back and forth. Well, it says lifetime guarantee. And so I'm thinking that if I ever have an issue with it, it probably is like save your receipt and send it back and do all kinds of stuff. But I know that they wouldn't put that on if they didn't feel this was a good handle. Okay, so that's the reason. And here, reverse levers fit right or left-hand doors. Now, most handles nowadays can do that. You can interchange it. You take, there's a little pin hole on the side of the handle if this is the wrong way, and then you can pop this portion of the handle off and the portion over here off. Okay, and they pop off, and then you flip them around. And on one of these doors, I might have to do that on this particular door. I don't know. This could be handed properly. We'll look at it here real quick and see. Let's just see if it's handed properly. Oh, and of course, you always know on the privacy handles what side is going on the inside of the door and what's on the outside of the door. But if you got a passage handle, you don't necessarily know. But like see, for a passage handle, I don't like to have the screws on the outside, the mounting screws. Because see, on the inside of this particular kind, you can see the screws. And you can see the screws on Schlage too. I could have put these screws on the outside, flipped these handles around, and it would have still worked. Do you see what I mean? But I didn't want that. I always like to have the mounting screws on the inside of whatever door that I'm using. That way on the surface, on the outside, is all nice and finished. And granted, other types of door handles, maybe the escutcheons on both sides don't have any screw holes. And that would be because you would screw it in first, and then you have a trim cover that snaps over it. Well, even on those, I like to put the mounting screw ones on the inside of the door and then snap your cover over it, and then you wouldn't have any screws at all. Okay, but not on this particular one. All right, so I like the look of it too, and I think it's going to be fine. Let's just kind of set this up. Let's see if this paddle handle is set up. See where the screws are. Obviously, is on the thumb turn side, and I always like to have the paddles contoured facing down like this. Okay, it just looks more pleasing to the eye. But did you know, if you have older people in the house or somebody who's handicap inclined, let's say, you could flip these handles around, and I've seen it where the handle is curves down and then tilts up. That would get somebody who can't use their wrist as easily and who might be slipping off of here. This will be raised up so they can just take their hand or finger or their palm or however they're opening it, and it makes it easier for them. And so you can interchange them that way too. But I happen to like the looks of them facing down. Okay, so I'm looking at this. The screws are here. The thumb turn is on the inside. This is the way it's going to go, just like that. Kaboom, just like that. So it's this one's handed properly. I don't have to do anything with the handles. But on doors where the hinges are on the right hand side, it's very opposite of this door. Okay, this handle wouldn't necessarily fit I mean, it will still fit, but then you have to pop the handles off, okay, as you're installing it, after you set it and all that kind of stuff. And they have a little tool in here. They got directions and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so that is what I'm going to put in here. It's very simple to do, and I'll give you a couple pointers along the way, and show you different things. Your door, for instance, your door may only have a round hole here. And did you know years ago, some doors, when I first started working, and if they just had a round hole, but if the doorknob and the door latch came with a rectangular face frame, I would have to mortise all of those in. And if we had 20 doors in a house, guess what? I had to mortise 20 of them in. Well, you don't have to do that nowadays. These are interchangeable. You've got a face plate that fits on a mortised out, or I did lots of doors, and I had some on my channel. I don't know if I have those, but I had to take the latch apart, and I had to put this round trim piece on, and then it fit on a round, just the round hole, where sometimes they just drill a hole there. Okay, so if you want to watch this, stick around. You might learn something. Now, what am I going to need for this whole job? Probably just a Phillips screwdriver. That is, after I open this. Sometimes you can pop this open. Other times you have to use your tin snips and get that open. Okay, kind of pull this out. Here's a nice new strike plate, and I like sometimes strike plates come with that little hole in there. See there? Then you just take your screw. If you need to adjust this, you take your screwdriver, put it in there, and just kind of. Lots of door strikes don't have that hole, so if you need to adjust it, then you have to take this whole thing off, get your pliers, grab it like that, take your pliers on there, and then bend that over, put it in. If you didn't bend it enough, you have to take it out. I've taken a strike plate out sometimes 3 times, maybe even 4 times, once or twice, to adjust the strike tab because I didn't have a groove on there like that. The only thing with these, you got to be really careful because there's not much metal that's holding this in. See those little tabs? That's it. If you bend this too far and then you have to push it back, and you try to do that, too many times, you could snap that off. And I've seen a strike plate like this before with this snapped off because there's not much metal holding it on there. You just have to be careful. Here's that round little plate. See, here's your latch. Here's your latch, and if you needed to take this off, you look on the back. See, there's a little notch right there. No notch, no notch. But here's another one. See, there's a notch there, and on the very opposite side, there's a notch there. You see? And you would take your screwdriver, put it in there, and tweak it. And that pops that off, and then this backing plate pops off. Then you can take this, and then you have to figure out which direction to put it, obviously. And it pushes right over that. See, it would go on that way, right like that. And you push it on there, kaboom, fits right in perfectly. It snaps right in. But I'm not going to need those, am I? So that part I'm not going to need. And I try to keep all the stuff here because at the end, if you're replacing your knobs or sometimes if you have paddle handles and you're replacing them because they're 15 years old and you want to replace them, just throw them in the same box before you throw them away. And it comes with all the goodies that you need. Usually it comes with just enough screws, and they don't normally give you any extra. Okay, Here's your two mounting screws for the door. Okay. Here's this little key that if you needed to change the handle swing, you would push that in there. And this is on a spring-loaded thing. You just push it, and you can feel it push. And you only have to push it a little bit, and then you just pull that off. And you do it on both sides, and then you flip them around and pop it back in. That's what that's going to be for. But I'm going to save that, and I'm going to put that up above the door. So if anybody ever needs to use it as a screwdriver, they can just reach up above the door, take this, and twist it. Use it as a screwdriver. You can put a dime in there, penny in there, your fingernail, screwdriver, whatever, to open it if you get locked out for something or you need to get in. And then your wood screws, 2 for the door strike plate and 2 for your door latch. Okay? Oh, and speaking of door latch, lots of times I'm going to use this. And I just use it because, well, check out this next segment and you'll see what I do. Okay, I've got my door latch. I think you can see that. And the old one, when I pulled it out, it left that backing plate. And yeah, see, I'm going to have to take that out. Dabbity nabbit. Sometimes they're big enough and you can just take this and slide it in there. That was like a backing plate. See that black thing in there? I'm going to have to wedge that out with a screwdriver and get that out. And I told you the whole thing would get installed with just a Phillips screwdriver, but of course you're going to have to do stuff to get things out like this, and I'm going to have to be careful with that. All right, so I'm going to work on that and get that out. Be right back with you. Just take your screwdriver and tap it back and forth. It's just plastic, you know, but you got to get it out of there sometimes. If my latch would have slid through there, I would have just left that. Okay? But it was from the last door. It just happened to have that. So let's look at this. I'm going to mimic as though this is pushed in there. And if I tighten that up all the way, that one looks pretty good, but it's inset a little bit. This one's inset pretty deep down there. And you could screw it in that way, and some people do. But I don't like doing that. I like to have this flush and this flush. That also pushes this out further in case if you've got a fairly big door gap between the edge of the door and the edge of your door jamb. Can you see that a little bit less of your latch is going to fit into your strike plate if you've got it pushed way in? Another reason why I don't like doing that. And when I walk by there, I just don't like the looks of it. Okay? And so if I were to push that in tight, I can see that's a little bit, this is a little bit more down there. So I'll show you how I fix that with this little piece of cardboard. Let's just take this cardboard. I'm gonna show you. It's just a little piece of cardboard. You can take any cardboard. I've just happened to take this, and I've got my tin snips, and I'm gonna cut this off of there on both sides because I need 2 shims, don't I? I'm going to have a shim at the top and one at the bottom, and this just so happens to be about the right width. When I cut that in half, to fit in there from side to side, and it might just barely be long, and that's okay because then I can kind of wedge it in there. Okay? Because you just follow me here, okay? The more you watch, hey, I tell people the more you watch, the more you learn. That's just kind of how it works. Okay, I'll get my tin snips out. I'm going to cut this right in half, and I'm going to use it as a little shim. And I've got that little bit below the screw hole. So let's get you back up here. Okay, where the screw hole is, from there down, there's just enough room to put these little cardboard things, right? Okay, boy, up and down I go. Okay, I'll get you back down in here. And so maybe I can do it standing up. I'm gonna try to keep this close, and it was bigger at the bottom. I'm gonna roll this over 4 times. Okay. I know if it's thicker than that, I have to roll this over more. I could maybe get by with 3 times on that bottom, but you know, when I put the screw in, I can suck that screw in all the way, or whatever. Now I can cut that off. Okay. If you're unsure, you can do it 6 times. And then if it's too much, then you can unroll it and trim off one little piece to make it 5 times. And then you can unroll it to make it 4, whatever. Because I used to try to guess, and then if I cut it too far, then I've got to make a new one. Okay. The top one I know wasn't sticking out as far. Okay. I'm just going to make that 3. Okay. I'm going to hold that. I'm going to hold that there. I'm going to cut this off. So I could have used the rest of that cardboard for the other side, but whatever. I couldn't the other time because I needed 6. Okay, so now I've got one 4 and I've got one 3. Okay, so let's get back to this right there. I've got the one with 4, and you see I've got just enough room to wedge it in there. Look. Okay, granted that's folding up. I could flip that around if I didn't want it to fold up, but it should be okay when I get ready to put it in there. See? I used to take a piece of cardboard and wet it and stick it, you know, with my spit. And this one only had the one with the 3. Okay. Boom. Now, if that wasn't holding all the way, I can hold it, put this in, take my little screwdriver, hold the top. See, the top one is sliding just a little, but I can wedge it, but I could wedge it in there. Okay. See, it's going to hold. But if it wasn't, I just hold my screwdriver back there and get it. Okay. There, like that. Okay. Now I can put my screws in. If you get the cardboard going too much bigger than that, it could cover the hole. And if it does, then you would take a scratch awl, get the hole, and then just wedge the cardboard up just a hair. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to screw that in. And I'm just going to make it flush. And I'm pretty sure it's going to work with 4 at the bottom and 3 up here at the top. Okay. Hope you can see that. See, at first it looks like it's sticking out, but the cardboard's going to depress in there, and I can tighten the screw just a hair. And if I need to, I can hit that like that. That's flush. That's flush. I don't have to tighten that screw so tight that the whole thing's gonna fit. Do you see what I mean? You just want it flush. If those screws aren't tight all the way, the door handles set screws are gonna tighten everything. That is flush here. Right there. In fact, on this side, it's sticking out just a hair. Dabbity nabbit. And this one is just a hair. Let's see, I should have went 5 and 4. Okay, so I could leave it like that if I want, or I can fix it. You saw it. It didn't take me very long to fix that, right? To put that in. So I'm going to fix it. 5 and 4. So remember, I got 4 here, so I'm going to take the 4 and put it up at the top. Hello, baby. How did everything go?
I'll tell you later.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to take that out. That top one I'm not going to use anymore. And this bottom one had 4. And so I'm going to flip that around. I'm going to put that up here. Because that was 4 folds. That should be perfect. That'll be perfect for that top. Okay. And so now I need to cut another one of those for the bottom. And you see, I don't know if I have enough with this piece. You see, it's shorter now because I cut both of those. But I might be able to use this and just not have it go all the way. As long as I can get 5 folds on it, or 5 layers. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, see, I don't think I can. See, I only got 4. But you know what? It's fatter. It might work. It might work. Let's just try and see. It might just work. Okay. And again, I'm not going to use my battery operated drill for this. This is all about making it line up exact and adjusting it and all that. Okay. I'm going to be careful as I'm doing that. You see, when I sink it in, it still goes in, so that's no good. See, if I were to do it tight, I still got that angle. That's not going to work. I need 6 and 5 is what I need. Okay, so I'm going to I'll find another little piece of cardboard and cut it and fold it and make it 6 and 5. 6 at the bottom. I should have, the other door was 6 and 6, and I should have just made the assumption, but see, that's how you can do that. And it doesn't really take you that long. You're just using that as your shim. That's all. I used to try to take wood shavings and do it, but you know, it's just so much easier with a piece of cardboard. And this cardboard will work just fine. See? And I'm gonna use this, and I'll be right back with you after I do it. Okay, we're gonna try this again. I got 6 rolls, 5 rolls, and on the last roll, I cut the cardboard back at an angle, about halfway back, because this side is higher than this back side when they groove that out, because the door has a beveled angle, and they're just dadoing this out straight, and so this side always gets deeper than that side. So, and then I just tighten that up with my screwdriver, you know, in there. So hopefully when it lines up, the whole thing is pretty much level, you know, flat. We'll see. That's a theory anyways, right? Okay. So we'll get that right where it should be. Looks like the top's gonna look good. It's fine where it's at. I think the bottom I can get it. I try not to do it perfect, because if I don't have to tighten the screw all the way, then I don't worry about it. I don't worry about tightening the screw all the way because, like I say, the screws in the door hold everything. This is just for the latch. And if it's slightly off, I don't really mind too much. But I still try to take my time and do the best I can, you know. If you're gonna do it, you might as well do it right, you know. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm liking that. Okay, I'm liking that a lot. Way better. Okay, there. Okay, it took me a little bit of time and effort, but anything worthwhile generally takes a little effort. Spend some time on your doors and get them looking right. Next step coming up. Okay, time to put this together. And it's already set right. Here's the mounting screws on the inside. Of course, the inside, you always want the thumb turn. Let's pull that out. Now I'm going to slide it right in there. Oh, and you know what? Your latch is preset for 2 3/4 or 2 3/8 back set. And it also, you can set it for 2 3/4. What is that anyways? What does that mean? It means if you take the high side of the door and measure with your tape measure over to the center of your hole, it'll either be 2 3/8 to the center or 2 3/4. Usually for interior hollow core 1 3/8 doors, they're generally set at 2 3/8. Okay, if this was an exterior door or a solid core 1 3/4 door, something like that, and generally those are at 2 3/4, but they could be either. Okay, and so I'm just gonna take that, gently slide it through there where it goes. Okay, hang on to that. And this one I like, it's got some little plastic goodies that kind of help you get it right in there. So when you put your screws in, it should slide in there. Now see, there's a groove inside here that I have to slide that in. So I just have to kind of, it should slide in there. If I whittle this just a little bit, one way or another, come on, it's a dealio. It slid out, and I always like to try to make sure I put everything back in the same way. What's the deal? There it goes. I like to try to put these in just with my fingers, and if I can twist it with my fingers, I know I'm not cross-threading it. Last thing you want is to start it just barely, and if it's cross-threaded and you think, okay, yeah, I'll just ram that in with my power drill, my battery-operated drill, and then it's not going, it's harder, and you think, oh, I'll just keep ramming it. Well, you're cross-threading the threads, and you may have just screwed up the whole thing. Okay, so see, I'm just holding this with my palm and twisting it instead of twisting a little bit at a time. Here, 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 here. I'm just holding it like that and twisting. And I'm not going to get it tight, I'm just going to get it so it's not going to fall off. And then see where the screw is. It's right kind of behind the handle. You can pull the handle down if you want, you know, and then do it. What I've been doing is just, you know, kind of like that, and getting it started, making sure I'm not cross-threading. Okay, I got it. And then I'm just taking my small little screwdriver. And it's a standard, it's not a Phillips, but it's just in there in the slots, and I'm just using that just to screw that in for right now, just to get most of it. I got my foot on the outside of the door to hold it. See, I can almost get the whole thing in there. I'm not going to tighten it yet. Okay. And right before I tighten it, I like to lift this up and see how there's a little bit of a leeway. I don't like to leave it middle because eventually this is going to sag and the handles are going to sag. So I like to raise it up. You can't really tell with the paddle handles that is raised up much anyways, because the handles already has the paddle. But when it sags, and it will over time, it'll go down a little bit, then it will still look like it's straight. Okay, so now I got that one tight there. Now I can raise that up or push it down. Either way, to get this other back screw. And I just want to make it snug. I don't want to over tighten it. Okay. Make sure it works. Make sure this pushes in by itself. Because if you get something slightly off, if you push that and it sticks, then you know you need to adjust this. Okay. Make sure this locks and unlocks. Okay, there. That didn't take you very long, did it? In reality. Okay. Now we got to put the strike plate on. Should be pretty easy. Step by step, you can do it. All right. Usually these line up like for like. And again, I like to do it just by hand. Whoops. Whoopsie, butterfingers. Maybe I could do it this way, like this. And I'll just do it by hand. That way I don't strip the screw head or tighten it up too much with my battery operated drill. It doesn't take long, you know. I could tighten that more, but I don't need to. I know it's snug right there. Making sure looks pretty much lined up. Okay, I can adjust that paddle on the inside if I have to, but I may not have to. I may not have to. We'll just see. We'll just see. See how floppy that is? See? So that tells me I'm going to have to adjust that paddle. I take my standard screwdriver and I just take it in here and wedge out on it, like that. And you do that a couple times. You may get lucky the first time. Now see, it's just a hair, right? But as somebody's closing it, it looks like the door could be slightly bowed, warped or something, but I'm liking that. It doesn't chatter because the spring loaded is coming back here. If you push on the door, see, there's just a hair, but I've got the paddle out a little bit. I don't think I want to take the paddle out any further. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it like that. If I wanted to, I could take a door silencer, you know, just a little felt bumpers that you put on cabinets, and I could put that. I could put one on the bottom, or I could put one up on the top or whatever, and I would get the white, and I would put that right on the side. Right on the side there. And I used to do that on all kinds of doors. That way you don't hear them close at all. I mean, that's something you can do if you have the gap. If you have the gap, you know. If you don't have to adjust your door stop or your door strike plate at all, then you may not have enough room for those silencers, okay? I'm going to call that good, okay? And then You see, we didn't have to use that little key, did we? To change anything. And look at the handle. The handle still looks straight because it's curved down like that. When it sags, it's going to sag a little bit, and it will still look straight after it sags. And so because this is a privacy one, we can use this for a little screwdriver, right? If we want. And so up at the top of the door, and because this one fits into both corners, I could put it either way, up here or over on that side. I'm going to put it over here. Okay, that's my little screwdriver. In case somebody gets locked out, they can use that to unlock the door. Okay, there, you've done it. By Joe. Now to figure out if we need to put a door stop on this. If you want to watch that, keep sticking around. That'll be on my next video.